On the night of a full moon, a mysterious cat enters the temple orphanage, where Aori is sleeping. He was awakened by the cat's voice and decided to take a midnight leak. He passes by a room and to his shock, sees the corpse of a girl. He hides behind the Buddha statue when he hears people coming in. Among them is his brother, Kaizei, and several other Buddhist priests. Though Kaizei is injured, he starts his ritual on the corpse and hugs her. The next thing we know, she comes back alive. Elsewhere, the police raid an apartment belonging to Hajino. They have found 7 female bodies in his residence. Hajino tells them he was just getting rid of them because they disobeyed orders. He shocks the cops by leaping out of the window. The next morning, Kaizei may be a priest, but he doesn't seem to be setting a good example by stealing the orphans' breakfast. The caretaker of the place, Riko, puts him in order and lets the kids enjoy their food. Today is also the day that Aori will be moving out to live on his own, something that the other kids aren't happy about. In class, Aori's classmate, Mizuki, warns him about the harem criminal case. That guy seems to be lurking around the area, so be extra careful since Aori is moving to his new place. Later, after the class, Aori bids farewell to his fellow orphanage with tears in his eyes. Kaizei is seen discussing Hajino's case with Makina. Apparently, he leapt from the 20th floor and survived. It's because he is a Shikabani who has been revived and usually develops strange powers. Makina will help with the investigation, and if she finds him, she will kill him. Later, Makino infiltrates a building where Hajino is believed to be, only to find him sucking the blood of 4 of his women and claiming to be a vampire immortal. She engages in a battle with him, whips out her double Uzis, and fires away, but Hajino turns into his true demonic form, grabs all the women, including Makina, and flies away. Makina manages to free herself and falls straight to the ground. Aori happens to walk by and sees a corpse nearby. He is shocked to see that it's the same corpse he saw the other night. Makina experiences a flashback where she is being devoured by demons. Upon waking up, she slaps Aori and leaves with Kaizei on his scooter. Kaizei tells her that a Shikabani cannot infect others. The other women may have been hypnotized by his spell. Therefore, she can't touch or hurt those women. Makina faces Hajino at the top of the building and narrates how a Shikabani princess was created to annihilate other evil Shikabani. Makina has it tough with the women coming in between her and Hajino, but thanks to Kaizei's help, she is able to dive straight and attack Hajino. She blasts her away using Uzis, and Makina becomes dangerously reckless as she continues shooting Hajino. Knowing a way to kill a Shikabani is to destroy its brain. It's game over for Hajino when she fires at point-blank range. Finally, Aori reaches his new place by nightfall. He is surprised to see his friends asleep, as they wanted to throw a surprise welcome party. Aori continues to visit orphanage. He learns that one of the girls who used to come by often, Hikaru, was killed in an accident. One of the orphans who is close to her, Shota, seems to be a little devastated. He can't go to her funeral because she is the daughter of a big shot, and there will be media everywhere. But during the funeral, Hikaru revives and climbs out of her coffin. Aori works part-time in a bar run by Sadahiro. Sadahiro explains to another part-time worker, Akira, that Aori is Kaizei's little brother. They aren't blood-related because Kaizei took him in when he was young. Aori, on his way home, passes by a hospital. He saw the earlier black cat, who told him to follow him. Then he sees Makina sneaking through the window. She was going to destroy Hikaru, who is now a Shikabani, but got distracted by a decoy and got deeply stabbed. The hideous Shikabani transforms into cute Hikaru when Aori comes in and pleads for help. He takes her away, and Makina is too weak to follow up. Her wounds soon heal, and Kaizei calls her and informs her that there are other 2 kids too that turned into Shikabani. Hikaru brings Aori to the playground. He realizes something is wrong when he sees the other 2 dead kids playing there. He doesn't want Hikaru to go, but she throws him back. Makina tracks them down as she explains the goal of Shikabani, which is to bring death to humans, and herself as the Shikabani princess, who will exterminate those undead. She engages in battle with them and deals some damage to them. However, 3 Shikabani combined into one giant monster to further play around with Makina. Aori gets sick when he sees a dismembered human nearby. He calls out Hikaru's name as he wants to give her something, and this causes the monster to go berserk. Makina uses this chance to destroy them. While Makina destroys one, fellow Shikabani princess Minai gets another. Hikaru lies in the arms of Aori. Reluctantly, he gives Hikaru to Makina, who lands the final blow that kills her. Aori then hands over the drawing of the orphanage family to Makina, the thing he wanted to give to Hikaru. Aori breaks down when he returns to his home. A young couple walks through a dark path when they hear a baby's cry. They look back and see a hideous Shikabani. Luckily, Makina is on scene, but by the time she confronts the Shikabani, it is already gone. Kaizei tells her that another person has fallen victim to the Shikabani. On another day, Makina swiftly goes into action in a similar case, but once more she only finds the victim's corpse and no Shikabani around. Kaise and the other priests are discussing the possibility of an invisible Shikabani. They realized all the victims were young women who had visited a particular gynecologist. Auri is sick and stays home, but the cat pays him a visit and tells him he is being called. He follows it to the outside of a clinic, where he collapses. The doctor sees him and takes him in. Next morning he is feeling better but is surprised to see Makina pretending she is pregnant, and her boyfriend has left her. After the doctor leaves, Makina confronts Auri. She is not amused that this is the third time he has appeared in her Shikabani hunt, and wonders who sent him. But she has no time to play with him as she starts looking around. They wander into a room with a baby, whom she believes is a Shikabani because a baby's voice is heard each time a young woman dies. But Auri doesn't believe it and tries to stop her, but he smells her rotting flesh. She wants him to smell the baby too. The doctor comes in and tells her the baby is not a Shikabani. Makina doesn't listen to him and takes the baby with her. However, she is attacked by a Shikabani, who knocks her out while leaving the baby unharmed. The doctor knocks Auri out from behind. Makina and Auri wake up tied up in a room. The doctor explains the baby belongs to the Shikabani mother, who died while giving birth. She turned into a Shikabani, and because nobody else looked after her baby but him, that is why she obeys him. The doctor is also doing experiments to bring back the dead, as heard in rumors. He takes a skin sample from the Shikabani and mixes it in a potion. He was the one who did this to all the female victims. He injects a sample into her, but nothing happens, and he wonders if the dosage was enough. After learning Makina's name, he remembers that a family by that name died when their house burned down. Makina manages to break free and turn the tables on the doctor. She admits that she is from that family, but she says the fire didn't kill her. She died once, so a corpse's flesh won't do anything to her. Since she has become one, she thought it would be better to lose all her humanity. She destroys the Shikabani while stating that trying to become human again isn't any different from being a monster. Makina is about to kill the doctor, but Auri tries to convince her that she is human, but she doesn't consider herself one. Kaise then barges in, but Auri's head goes heavy and he passes out. He wakes up back in Darrington Orphanage and learns the doctor was arrested. As for the baby and mother, Kaise dismisses the idea that he was just imagining things. Later, Kaise goes to the hospital to talk to the doctor, who is by his ailing wife's side. He knows he is conducting experiments using Shikabani's cell to prolong his wife's life. He must have been set up for this by someone who is well versed in Shikabani and wants a name. However, the doctor is already dead, as a dagger is seen stabbed in his chest. A famous idol named Kun, not just an ordinary idol because she can still play her piano while a bloodied corpse is hanging on the ceiling. She's a Shikabani and she wants to sing. Her manager, who is connected with the Yakuza, has arranged for her to perform in a concert. He gets a call from a mysterious guy, Akasha, who warns her that Shikabani princess is targeting them. Auri is at the library trying to look for articles about a fire incident 10 years ago that killed the Hashimura family when his friend Hiro comes in to invite him to Kun's concert. Kaise is listening to Kun's music and gets kicked by Makina for being disgusting. There's a reason he's doing this. Kun is going to release her second album this week, but that's not possible because she's already dead. He heard she had health problems and had collapsed. The hospital didn't say anything because her manager has connections with the Yakuza and is hiding the fact that she is a Shikabani. They need to get to her and dispose of her quickly. Makina disguises as a pizza delivery to enter Kun's room, but she blows her away with her supersonic voice. The Yakuza surround her. Though she threatens them with her Uzis, she can't harm the living. She fires her shots at Kun, but she disintegrates her bullets with her voice. Battered and cornered, Makina dives out of the building and escapes. Riko tells Auri what she has learned about the Hashimura family. They were connected to the Kugan cult, and Makina did come over to say hello shortly after her father died. Makina is Kaise's senior, but Riko has heard nothing about their house being burned down. Auri follows the cat to a temple and sees the entire place burned. Auri sees the grave of the Hashimura family, and Makina's name is on it. Makina happens to be there and confirms it. She reveals her family was murdered and her house burned down. However, only she was resurrected as Shikabani princess. Auri wants to know more about her, but she won't let him get any closer because they are already dead. Makina gets a call from Kaise. Kaise hears Auri's voice in the background and is shocked. Makina hangs up. Auri can't leave her alone since she is hurt and wants to help her. Kun is angry that she can't sing and throws a tantrum when Makina and Auri burst in. Makina says she can sing in hell for all she likes. Kun transforms into her demonic form and attacks Makina, but Kun is too strong for her and takes a beating. Auri notices her wounds are heavier than before. Kaise enters the scene and explains that as Shikabani princess, she is connected to a specific person. If that person is close to her, she can absorb his life energy, restore her body, and gain new skills or knowledge. Such a person is called a contracted priest, and Kaise is Makina's contracted priest. He hugs her and heals all her damage. Makina returns to fight Kun as Kaise plays a song from her CD. Kun turns crazy as Kaise lectures her that even though she wanted to sing, she can't because she threw away her humanity. She can't touch people's hearts anymore, and now her song is a sad song filled with death. He sticks a plant grown in holy water into her before Makina finishes her off. Makina walks off on her own while Kaise returns to Auri's place to explain. He asks if he ever wonders what happens after death. Since there is meaning to everyone's death, one should not have attachments to this world. Those who do not accept their deaths will become Shikabani. Therefore, the purpose of the Kugan cult is to save the living from their pangs of death and revert Shikabani to what they were in the first place. Auri is upset that Kaise is saying he has nothing to do with this. Now that he knows his injuries are mainly from this, he can't help but worry. Kaise can't quit, and Makina is the reason why he became a contracted priest. Elsewhere, several kids sneak into an unlicensed rental car to go for a night drive. Rumors have it that you can ride it for free, and just leave the cash in the compartment. Suddenly, the car started moving on its own. Before they know it, the passengers all start dying. The car returns to the car wash, where Akasha collects their blood. Auri's class receives a new classmate, a cutie named Itsuki, but when she starts waving at Auri, the guys become jealous. On the other hand, the girls are more excited about their new PE teacher, Takamasa. Meanwhile, Kaise gets a call from his father and fellow contracted priest, Bishop Saojin. Because he has let Auri know about Shikabani princess, he must be eliminated. It was the deal that no other family members must know this. Until this case settles, Kaise is suspended. Since Kaise is suspended, Saojin hopes Shikabani will not appear in his area. His Shikabani princess, Kamika, offers to go, but Honda doesn't want to send their strongest Shikabani princess to get hurt. Besides, he has already sent one. Makina has already done her research on the unlicensed car rental, and knows that all those who rented with them never came back. Knowing it is Shikabani's trap, Kaise is told not to take action. Itsuki manages to use her charms to persuade Auri to come join her for the free ride. Later that night, Auri was undecided until the cat showed up and told him that he was already too deeply involved and that it did concern him. So when he meets up with Itsuki, there is also Makina. Itsuki starts driving. It seems Auri tagged along because he had a hunch Makina would turn up. Just when Itsuki's driving is getting bad, she points out the car is moving on its own. Then an on-screen message tells them this car can only fit one passenger and to reduce the other numbers. Weapons come out of its compartment. Itsuki becomes scared and takes the gun. She doesn't want to die like this. Makina tells her to come down, takes out her Uzi, and starts shooting the car. After blasting the door off, Makina kicks Auri out. She then realizes Itsuki is missing. After the car crashes, Makina and the car get involved in a Mexican showdown. Auri is awakened by the cat. It starts to snarl when Akasha pops up. Then it flees. He refers to himself as a betrayer monk, as that is what others call him because he is disobeying the Kugan cult. He is trying to destroy all the dolls that they created. He tells him all Shikabani princesses have a contract. They must kill 108 Shikabani to enter heaven. They are no different from Shikabani, and don't know how to die, so the Kugan cult uses them. Before he can say more, Itsuki fires a warning shot and accuses him of trying to make more new Shikabani. He admits that is his first step in his plan. Itsuki is a Shikabani princess too, and coming to her aid is her contracted priest Takamasa. Meanwhile, Honda and Rinsen are at Sadahiro's bar. They talk about several things, and Sadahiro knows they've been keeping an eye on Auri, as he's been spotted too many times with a Shikabani princess. They fear he may have connections with Akasha. Sadahiro will eliminate Auri and Kaise if they are found to be connected with Akasha since he is his prey. Besides Sadahiro's Shikabani princess, Akira is the only one who can kill humans. Back to Auri, Itsuki questions Akasha, the Kugan cult's former first-ranked priest, on why he killed his own Shikabani princess. He doesn't answer her and knows she can't kill him. Because he doesn't like her touching him, he punishes her by using his powerful Zodan technique via the box of blood from the victims he collected. Auri is so upset that he is useless that he runs into Makina's fight with the car. He even wants answers if his existence gets in the way of Kaise's work. He knows about her mission to go to heaven and views that as selfish. If she wants to die, then die alone and do not involve his brother. The car corpse captures Makina and strangles her and tries to devour her. In great timing, Kaise enters the scene. He has no choice. In order to free Makina from being devoured, he cuts off her hand. Aori doesn't want Kaze to endure such things because it won't do him any good, but he says he made a promise. When Makina died, she had two choices: become a Shikabani and kill humans, or turn into a Shikabani princess and kill those monsters. Either way, both are hell. Makina manages to find the brain of the car corpse when it transforms into its true monster form. She fires at it and kills it for good. When Aori mentions the betrayer priest, Kaze makes haste to where he is. Aori wants Kaze to promise he won't die. Upon meeting Akasha, it seems he and Kaze know each other. Akasha is using Itsuki's body for the Zadan technique, which is believed to summon some power from the stars and gods. Akasha says he and Sadahiro were the first ones to discover this 5 years ago. Akasha is using those who died in the car and their attachment to this world as weapons. He doesn't view the Kugan cult very much differently than what he is doing. Akasha mocks Kaze, saying that he loves his doll so much that he might even love it. Makina gets upset and shoots the monster to free Itsuki. When the Shikabani princess fires enough to reveal the blood box, Kaze grabs it. But because it contains 108 Shikabani inside, Kaze is starting to lose consciousness. Akasha is about to strike him when Kaze uses the box as a shield. They thought he was paralyzed, but prior to this, he drank Kugan cult's painkiller. There is a risk of them dying if they get spiritual damage from the blood of 108 Shikabani. The box bursts and covers the duo in blood. Kaze starts reacting to it. A long-range snipe almost hits Akasha. He knows it is Sadahiro and Akira, and that bullet contains Zadan. He makes his escape and hopes Kaze could one day see his Shikabani destroy the Kugan cult. Kaise's act has proven he is not a betrayer priest, so Saojin reinstates his position. Makina rushes to Kaise's side. With tears streaming down her eyes, she says she won't let him die and will protect him. Some guy called Mitsuyoshi observes a bunch of delinquents causing trouble on the train. After they get off at the next station, he confronts them. Because they get cocky and think they can beat this guy, they attack. However, Mitsuyoshi has a Shikabani protecting him and he threw one of them into the path of an oncoming train. Meanwhile, Takamasa sees Rika and is told Kaze is healing. He wants her to strengthen his bow weapon and plans on using Zadan. He blames his weakness as the cause of Kaze and Itsuki getting hurt. Sadahiro explains to Akira about Akasha's past. He was one of the priests in an expedition to get rid of a powerful Shikabani running rampage. Sadahiro was the backup priest, and when he arrived on site, he saw everyone dead except for Akasha. He was holding his Shikabani princess in his arms, and his eyes were bloodshot. A week later, he infiltrated the Kugan cult's headquarters, stole the secret ritual scriptures, and killed his own Shikabani princess. Aori's friend, Sumatori, shows him a blog that belonged to his senior, Mitsuyoshi. They were once in the Kendo Club. His blog used to be about video games, but it recently turned into an ominous diary as part of his mission as a hero of justice, birth, death, and torment. Sumatori also mentions that recently a fellow Kendo Club member died in a train accident. He tried to contact Mitsuyoshi but couldn't get through. He is telling Aori this because Mizuki did warn them about those Shikabani rumors. Aori quickly brushes them off and lies, saying he doesn't know about it. Later, he goes to see Makina. She corrects his belief that she wants to go to heaven. Her goal is to find the Shikabani responsible for her family's murder and kill them. That's why she doesn't want him to misunderstand and think they are heroes of justice. If he continues to stay with them, Kaze might die. Isaki and Minai are going around looking for clues on Mitsuyoshi. He thinks that with Kaze out of the picture, it is their chance to get promoted. He force kisses her but finds it horrible. She's a corpse, remember. Aori manages to contact and meet Mitsuyoshi. Despite getting beaten up, he tries to persuade him that Sumatori is worried and that if he is a hero, he should find another way of doing things. This causes Mitsuyoshi to go berserk and transform into his hideous Shikabani form. Isaki and Minai happen to pass by and recognize Aori, whom the temple head is still suspicious of. He thinks this is a great opportunity. Minai saves Aori from being minced meat, but she goes into shock when Mitsuyoshi calls her the evil one instead. Isaki abuses her to get the job done, much to Aori's dismay. He explains that some Shikabani princesses are so powerful that they obtain special abilities. In this case, the curse enables Mitsuyoshi to have telekinesis. He chides Aori for getting in the way and orders Minai to stop sleeping and get the job done. Minai only runs from Mitsuyoshi, so Isaki butts in by stabbing its hand. He got hurt instead. Aori realizes Mitsuyoshi can reflect the damage he did on the same part of his opponent's body. Aori then pushes Mitsuyoshi off the cliff, and Minai dives in to save him. Resting in the cave, Aori isn't happy that she obeys that heartless Isaki. She says she killed a man and was supposed to die with him. However, she didn't, and she became a Shikabani princess as a penalty. That's why she felt there were some truths when Mitsuyoshi accused her of being evil. Aori disagrees because she saved him. Mitsuyoshi revives and attacks them. Minai is too weak, and before Aori could use his body to protect her, Makina comes into the picture and fires at the Shikabani with her Yuzi. She notes it didn't receive any damage when he attacked the right arm because she still has a hand missing. Makina is about to land the finishing blow on Mitsuyoshi. However, Asaki wants Minai to do it because it will be an insult for a regenerating Shikabani princess to help her. He warns Makina that it is illegal to distance herself from her contracted priest and fight alone. She backs off to let Minai do the honors, but Mitsuyoshi stabs his neck to transfer that wound to hers. Aori calls Sumitori and puts his voice on the loudspeaker. He is worried about Mitsuyoshi, and this causes the guy to stop dead in his tracks and reminisce that someone cared for him. With that, Minai finishes him off. Asaki is still not happy and orders Minai to leave. She is glad she doesn't consider these wounds punishment anymore. Because she is not human, like Shikabani princess, she can continue fighting and get wounded to protect them. Rika and her Shikabani princes, Saki, see Kaise. It seems he is doing fine because, for some perverted reason, he wants to lick Rika's feet. Minai sees Aori at his school. Because he used his phone to access Mitsuyoshi's blog, it is evidence relating to him, so she must confiscate it. As compensation, she will accompany him to buy a new one and bear the cost. After that, when they trade numbers, she realizes she missed 20 calls from Asaki. However, he won't get to because he has been taken by a couple of punks he earlier beat up into the alley. Suddenly, Minai goes into shock. Word goes around that Asaki has been stabbed to death in the alley. The other priests arrive to pick up his body. Saki bolts out of the door with her giant hammer. Kaise explains that a Shikabani princess and her contracted priest have a very strong link and bond. That is what keeps a Shikabani princess human. If she outlives her contracted priest, she becomes just another Shikabani. That's why sometimes another Shikabani princess has to kill another of her kind. She is attacked by Saki. Aori wanted to help, but Itsuki restrained him. Saki lectures her about becoming just another corpse after her contracted priest died. She strikes, but Minai is able to block. She doesn't want to die because she has been thanked by Aori. Though Minai gets hammered, Saki was hesitant in killing her. This allowed Minai to retaliate as Aori took her and ran. Then Aori comes in Sadahiro bar and hopes he can hide Minai temporarily while he goes to distract the rest. Later, Makina confronts Aori and wants him to tell her where he is hiding Minai, but he won't say. Sadahiro tells Minai that there is a secret procedure that can reverse her process. She has to break her link with Asaki and make another contract immediately. The tough part is finding a suitable one, as she already has a strong connection with Asaki. He thinks Aori is suitable, but Akira disagrees since he isn't a priest. Aori passes by a crowd that includes his friends. The police have taken custody of the punks who stabbed Asaki. When his friends tell him about it, Aori goes crazy, screaming out his frustration like a madman. Unfortunately, Minai is already dead in Sadahiro's bar. She didn't want Aori to be subjected to such a fate, and allowed herself to be killed. Honda and Rinsen are there to pick up her body. Aori calls Sadahiro, but he is not picking up. Soon, Nozomi Kasuga is among a group of students entering an abandoned building as part of the ghost spotting site. It is believed that robbers were trapped here before one of them set the place on fire. It spread so quickly that innocent people got engulfed. After that, people who entered the building never came out. This building soon became known as the Man-Devouring Building. Nozomi thought she spotted a corpse, but it turned out to be one made of paper money. But when it starts moving and accusing them of stealing its money, you know it's a ghost, or rather, a Shikabani for real. Makina is also part of the group and tells them to scram while she gets into action. Nozomi is too scared to run, so Makina helps her. However, Makina got hit and lost an arm. Nozomi is shocked that she is dead. She tries to run but gets a paper cut. Before the Shikabani could kill her, Makina revives and pumps her bullets to kill the Shikabani. It is then that Nozomi saw the beauty of death in her, but she passed out. Later, she tries to search for her but to no avail, till she sees her coming out from Darinkan with Aori. Aori wants answers about Minai and doesn't buy Makina's answer that she has gone away or something. At school, Aori and Sumitori are somewhat depressed. Ashijima tries to cheer them up by showing them some appai. To Ashijima's dismay, Nozomi wants him to set up a meeting with Aori. Nozomi lights up in delight upon knowing Makina's name, but Aori thinks she better stay away from her. The cat is taunting Aori that he attracts Shikabani Jaime as he is drawn to death as it climbs around Nozomi. It tells Aori that only he can see it and that the cat is him. Aori tries to get the feline but ends up grabbing Nozomi's appai. Nozomi tells him off. He doesn't even know Makina and that she will protect her from him. Makina talks to Kaise on who Aori is because she knows he isn't any ordinary human, as he wasn't afraid of her being dead when they first met, and also he treated Minai like a human being despite knowing she's dead. Kaise explains he first found him when Aori was 3 years old. He had no social skills and didn't even know how to feed or put on clothes himself. So much so, the other kids stayed away from him. One day he brought back a cat. And although he sucked in taking care of it, for someone who showed no interest in others and began taking care of a living thing, unfortunately, the cat died in an accident. Ari stood there staring at it before taking it to the riverbank, the place where he first picked it up. He thought it would cry again as it would, but Kaze started burying it. He tells Ari the only thing they can do for the dead is to remember their death and cry. Priests aren't here for the dead but for the living who are drowning in sadness. That's why he must cry. For the first time, Ari felt feelings and cried his heart out. As people easily forget about death, it isn't so for Ari. He thinks it's something that can't be forgotten. Later that night, Nozomi meets Makina outside Darrington. Though she is happy to see her, Makina wants her to forget everything she saw on that day, including her, for her own sake. Nozomi gets desperate. She says Ari knows nothing about her or her death, something that she views as eternal and beautiful. Makina replies, death is just death. She questions her back on how much she knows about Ari because he understands death much more than her. This breaks her heart, so Nozomi runs away in tears. Ari happened to be around, so he thought he was the source of their misunderstanding. To his surprise, Makina can see the cat, and she thinks it's the one with him from time to time. Ari wants to know more about Minai since he knows nothing about her. Since the only thing to do for the dead is to remember them and cry, if he doesn't know anything about her, he can't remember her well. Kaze is making a fuss in the hospital. He is serious. He learns about what happened to Minai and is surprised that the auditor has rid Minai's body. Not even Saojin can stop him. Despite Ari not being hurt, Kaze knows his feelings were, and if Saojin doesn't know, he'll ask somebody who does. He barges into the Kugan cult, and it may seem he is disrespectful trying to get some answers from Bishop Gon, the second highest in command in the cult, but he won't say anything. Then Bishop Jacob walks in. You know he is the one in the highest order when everyone bows down to him. He has also heard what happened and hopes Kaze will continue to serve them. Nozomi wants Ari to come with him. She shows him a magazine whereby a mysterious cult has recently attracted some attention because the cult leader believes in attaining immortality after stepping through fire. Why is she showing him this? Nozomi thinks she could become like Makina if she joins this cult and hopes Ari will join too. But Ari thinks of checking this out to learn if there is a way to save Shikabani Jaime. Kaze is seen talking to Takamasa. The latter thinks of retiring to some mountain with monks. Kaze shows him several sutras he had stolen from Saojin's place because he thinks it's time to learn Zaten technique. He believes the betrayer monk will return as the mass outbreak of Shikabani is his first step. Kaze plans to go to Ari's part-time job. He smells something fishy because it is the only place he could hide Minai, as this is the only place he knows in town. Yet how could the auditor have gotten there? Ari is in the midst of screening how great this cult leader is. Yeah, the couple of elderly ladies flanking him are in full praise and even persuade Ari to join. On his way out, he sees a weird girl, Hokuto, who soon goes off. Speaking of the cult leader, he is being confronted by several Shichiisai members, Heizama, Ina, and Kawaku. They want to end his show, but he puts on a little flashy show just to warn them he has powers. Oh, did he just mention he is also a Shikabani and wants to con the living out of their wealth? Well, he had always been a liar and deceiver when he was alive. Then when they display their overwhelming power, he realizes they are also Shikabani. Before he could escape, Hokuto appears before him and kills him. Kaze is outside Sadahiro's bar. He won't let him in, but Kaze recognizes his voice. He thought he was working for an information bureau overseas. Before he goes away, he tells Sadahiro about his two goals, to fight together with his Shikabani Jaime and not get Ari involved. Sadahiro wants Akira to pack up this instant. They're going into hiding for a while since no contracted priest must know about them. They're also going to track down the betrayer monk and hunt down the target. Akasha meets Shichiisai and wants to cooperate to erase Shikabani Jaime mess in this world. They view it as a common goal to destroy the Kugan cult. Heizama introduces Hokuto as the strongest Shikabani around, as she represents all the world's evil. That's why she is their leader. Kaze gets word from his colleague about the cult leader's death. The security camera footage catches Shichiisai in the picture. He thinks they have begun to move. And yeah, Shichiisai was the one responsible for murdering Makina and her family. Saojin discusses with Rika the appearance of Shichiisai, a group of Shikabani working together for a common goal to massacre the living. Akasha lets Shichiisai know that Kugan cult is now split into two factions. The one headed by Gon, Shuhauha, is against the way Shikabani are used now. Put this faction out of the picture, the other side, Shuhauha, takes over, and Shikabani Jaime will cease to be used. That's why they must make contracted priest and Shikabani Jaime their target and damage Shuhauha. Because Akasha is still human, they want him to prove he is serious and throw away his human heart completely. Ari visits Darrington and thinks the kids hate him since they're avoiding him. But Riko hints that they are secretly preparing his surprise birthday party tomorrow. Kaise shows the improvised robe with sutras underneath it for his Zaden technique. They get down to business, and the moment Shikabani's pictures are taken out, Makina becomes agitated. Their next job. She can't wait to have her revenge. So when Makina learns Ari had seen one of the members, she gets rough with him to spill the details and what he was doing at that phony cult. He thought he'd find another way to help Kugan cult, as he thinks she became a Shikabani Jaime without a choice, and it's like punishment. She dismisses it and says she wanted to become one. Later, Kaise comes to explain to Ari. Since he lost his parents when he was young, the one who took care of him was the priest of the Hashimura family, and he grew up with Makina. One day he left to train at Hanzen and hardly came back. He stumbled upon Darrington and met Riko. Since it was in a mess, he was employed, and they took their time and lots of money to restore it. 10 years later, he heard the Hashimura family was being burnt down by a group of Shikabani called Shichaisai. He arrived on the scene and was being told by Saujin to be Makina's contracted priest. He must do it now to prevent her from becoming a Shikabani. He is the only one who can do so, as they share a bond. Makina told him to make a contract with her because she wanted to become a Shikabani Jaime to hunt her family's murderers. Auri is on his way back, and he returns the lost ball to a kid, not knowing she is Ina. She touches his hand as part of her plan to create a connection. Then she vanishes. That night, everyone in Darrington turns in early. Not because they're tired, but a Shikabani curse, a heavy fog is set upon the place. Except for Kaise and Makina, as they know their enemies are coming. They prepare to seal the place with a talisman. Auri is about to leave his room when he notices the bruise on his arm. Suddenly that arm gains a mind of its own and starts strangling himself. Looks like he has become Ina's puppet. Kaise and Makina wait for their enemies to show up. Guess who? Akasha and Kawaku. Kaise wants to know what happened to Akasha on that day because they, along with Sadahiro, used to train together. He admits all that and has no grudge against him. Because he trusted him and looked up to him. When he learned the ugly truth on that day, he couldn't handle it anymore. Therefore, killing him here is necessary for him to be reborn. Makina fights Kawaku as Kaise notices Akasha still using the blood box as his medium, but it's not as powerful since it doesn't contain 108 souls. Akasha teases him. Why would the enemy come to a place that they would have an advantage over? Akasha then runs off, and Kaise rushes back to the room where the others are sleeping to check on them. The seals have not been broken. Then he is surprised to see Auri. What is he doing here? Next thing he knows, Auri stabs Kaise. Kugan Cult's headquarters is being surrounded by a barrier created by Heizama and Asaka. They know it's a weak barrier, but it's just to buy time. I guess it's also partly to show other Shikabani Jaime to strut their stuff. Like Saki hammering around and Kamika why she is the strongest Shikabani Jaime, living up to her nickname as Tsurugi Jaime. Twin blades of awesome firepower. Kaise is still strong enough to use his own blood to push Ina's control out of Auri for good. Auri is devastated he stabbed his brother. Akasha then attacks Auri before knocking Kaise out. This is so that he could extract his left eye filled with despair believed to be 10 times more powerful than the dead. Makina is having a tough time handling Kawaku because he has no solid body and can turn into inflammable gas. I guess Akasha let his guard down and wanted to help finish Makina off. Kaise restrains him from behind. Then he jumps to Makina's aid and spits some holy leaves around. The poison causes Kawaku's body to solidify. However, this also causes his own body to be poisoned. Kaise uses the sutra to do damage on Shikabani but in return also damages his own. Akasha panics and sees the eyes of a man who has accepted death. Kaise prepares to deal the finishing blow. Akasha becomes terrified. Is he not afraid of death? Doesn't he want to live to know the truth? Kaise tells him if it is the kind of truth that will make him kill his own Shikabani Jaime, then he doesn't want to know at all. He blows Akasha and Kawaku outside the building. The cat worsens Ari's psychological state, blaming him for everything. But Makina tells Ari off that it is not his fault because Kaise protected his family and beliefs. Kaise has a request of Ari. He wants him to save Makina and the rest in his place. What does this mean? He wants to pass the contract to him. He knows he can't make it in this state. Makina disagrees. She only wants him. How did Kaise get Ari to accept the contract? Remember Minai. Know what happened to her. It'll be the same for Makina too if they don't do anything about it. Ari falls unconscious after Kaise passes the contract. The ritual is over once he wakes up. He Makina to bring Ari to a safe place at that time and begs her to be with him and not drag this wounded ex-contracted priest to a hospital. He wants to see her smiling face one last time and prove he saved her from this living hell. Makina agrees to show it because she doesn't want him to have attachment to this world and turn into a Shikabani. With that, Kaize leaves this world with a peaceful expression on his face. Meanwhile, Kawaku forces Akasha to give him more power, and it turns him into a hideous monster. He is mad and going to kill that Shikabani Jaime, but not as mad as Makina is, because now she is on a rampage, and so mad this girl is, she got the strength to beat the crap out of this Shichiisai dude. However, she is overdoing it, and is causing bruises all over Aori as he takes in all her wounds. Akasha fears this curse makes her stronger than a Shikabani Jaime can really be. Because Aori has no training, the way Makina is being reckless extracting strength from her new contracted priest will kill Aori. In the end, Makina kills Kawaku. Pretty ironic for a corpse pleading for his life and wanting to live. As Akasha leaves the scene, he remembers Kaize wanted to run an orphanage and introduced Aori to him. Kaize's goal was to see this kid smile. Akasha uses his talisman to completely heal Aori of his wounds. He notes this is his last attachment to this boy. Aori sees Makina screaming and crying her heart over the horizon. So on his 16th birthday, becoming a contracted priest must be the worst present anyone could get. What's more, he lost a figure he admired as a father, brother, and friend. A funeral for Kaize is being held. Everyone at Darrington is deeply affected by his loss. Aori meets Rinsen and learns he is the Kugan's cult auditor for this area. They are those who support all fighting priests, and also arrange their funeral. He confirms Kaize's death, which means he went straight to heaven instead of becoming a Shikabani. Then he takes Aori to Saojin, who feels the need to explain things to him. The meaning of Shikabani, Shikabani Jaime, contracted priests, death, and attachment that could turn one into a Shikabani. Because Shikabani Jaimes are lingering between life and death, they need to eliminate 108 Shikabani in order to go to heaven. It is only then they are freed, so it is not like Kugan cult is using them as they please. We also learn additional stuff like traits that identify a Shikabani. 2 major traits: 1 regeneration ability that makes them immortal and changes them into a monstrous form. 2 they believe they are still human and alive but at the same time harbor hatred against the living. Others include N, bond that connects Shikabani to her contracted priest to stay human while continuing to fight. Shugo, a contracted priest of an area, approximately over 100 across the country, and Kaize was the Shugo of this area and the hierarchy of Kugan cult. Dai Saojo ranks the highest, followed by Shugon Dai Saojo. Under him are 6 priests, in which Saojin is one of them. As there are a few more classes below that, Kaize was the lowest priest, but his death and duty promoted him to a higher rank of Gon Saojo. Saojin was Kaize's former mentor, and thus he considers Kaize like a son. Now that Aori has a better understanding of the whole thing, at least he doesn't think the society treated Shikabani Jaimes in a bad way. Later, Rinsen tells Aori that they would find a new contracted priest for Makina. Aori wants to remain as her contracted priest since it was something that Kaize passed down to him. But Rinsen notes that he is not a trained priest, and at this rate, he will die. He almost did when Makina zapped his life energy. He will gain nothing if he continues to be her contracted priest. Speaking of her, she is staying at their head temple for now, as all those tainted cannot attend the funeral. Aori realizes that's why all the other Shikabani Jaimes were waiting outside the temple. Now it's time for Aori to do a little reminiscing flashback. Take it as a very short summary of how he met Kaize and got involved in this Shikabani Jaime business. Aori had no memories of being taken in by Kaize and only remembered the cat's death. Ever since, his mind has only been filled with death. He can't fear death and sometimes feels very close to it. His life changed 2 years ago when Kaize returned home, always with bruises because he became Makina's contracted priest. Even if Shikabanes are dead, they look like normal girls to him. He thought Makina was just Kaize's soldier. But when he died, he realized he was someone very special to her. They both lost someone irreplaceable that day. Then we have short flashbacks of all the fun, irritating, teasing, annoying times and serious moments Aori had with Kaize. I guess when there's no big brother to bug or take care of you, you really feel the emptiness. When Sadahiro comes by the night wake, Aori learns he is a contracted priest and Akira is his Shikabani Jaime. He knows Kaize because they trained together. Aori wants to train and become a worthy priest and won't give Makina to anyone else. Sadahiro reluctantly tells him the mountains are called Goryuzen. It's a place where all the priests had their training. Thank you for watching till the end. Please don't forget to subscribe.